that inside lane. A host of onboard cameras, including Austin Hill and the aforementioned Cletus McFarland. Going to be a fun Saturday afternoon. 250 laps at Rockingham. We are green.
Great jump by Cory Day there on the outside, slots in front of Jesse Love. We saw last year where the inside was a little, oh wow, Parker Retzloff got super loose and gets in the left rear, Justin Allgaier off too.
Allgaier slides through to third, Taylor Gray taking advantage in that outside lane, that white and yellow number 54.
Oh, we saw that so often last year. The way this track condenses off of two, when you're side by side and you're that inside car, you lack the side force you need to go around this place as fast as you do. So therefore, the car just leaps away from you on the exit. That's what happened to Retzloff, and he's just hanging on right now, trying to get his bearings.
Fluorescent number 20, Brandon Jones, veteran driver from Atlanta.
Oh, no.
He slides up. Here comes Sam Mayer in the 41, and his teammate 00, Sheldon Creed, is waiting there.
And this is something to note as you look at this racetrack and it being a repave still. Repaves are notorious for the car being on edge, and that means if are on the looser sides, we watched them get really close there into 3 between Sheldon Creed and Brandon Jones. It means that the car can just get away from you in an instant, and you're just balancing on a knife edge. That's what we saw there from Brandon Jones. As we look back at Retzloff here, just you see right there, the car takes away from him, and that's led by the right rear, and the way the track condenses off of 2. Justin Allgaier, not doing anything wrong, gets hit in the left rear, and you just got to hope that tire didn't get damaged.
The caution that didn't happen. Oh no, look at this, 33, Cletus McFarland, off pace.
Oh no, still rolling. Just listening if something was wrong internally there. Oh, really loose. That was a big slide, and for the speed he's going, that shouldn't be the case.
You know, I go back to the interview that KP did with him on NASCAR Countdown Live. He ran that ARCA East race, finished 4th, and he talked about how much more comfortable that ride was when you talk about the difference in horsepower between the 2 cars. Here's what we saw.
Oh, wow. Yeah, well, that's 3 into 1. And we know 2 wide is hard here, being 3 wide and being on the bottom, so this is an aggressive move. So he goes off, and yeah, just the track condenses. At the same token, you lose your right rear side force because you've got a car on the outside of you. This is all the things he had to learn, and Jesse Love mentioned it in his interview in the pre-race where he said one of the things he was trying to teach Cletus about was the aero effects. And yes, Cletus ran well in the ARCA car earlier, which has less horsepower, but it also has an immense amount more downforce than these O'Reilly cars, and therefore it's less susceptible to some of the aero effects that you're going to struggle with in the O'Reilly car. So that was a big learning moment for him, and he superheated that right rear tire, which means it's going to take a while for it to cool back down.
Give credit where credit is due. It was a nice save there.
Yeah, I mean, he's good at that. He did that in the tests as well. He had a major save into 3. He's got immense car control. It's all the other parts that he's got to learn.
Celsius onboard camera riding with Jeb Burton. Needs to get back on track. 3 tough weeks after a really good outing at Phoenix last month. Cory Day starts on the pole. He's led the first 8 laps. And this move was key to get ahead of the curve and take the top spot. 3 of the last 4 races, that 17 is on point. He's in control right now at Rockingham.
Men, get ahead of your curve. Explore Peyronie's disease treatments at GetSomebody4PD.com.
Justin said he felt
Round 8, 2026 for the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series on CW, brought to you by Arby's. Always good to be at Rockingham. Hadn't been here in so many years. Came back a season ago, back today. And it's an outstanding place for so many reasons.
What you see Sheldon Creed doing right there, going up the racetrack in 1 and having a higher exit in 2, that was something a lot of the drivers wondered, this being the second year here. Last year was very singular grooved, wrap the bottom as Swalwich goes to the top in 3 and 4, looking the outside of his teammate there, Brent Cruz. But the question was the track open up in 1 and 2, allow you to get sort of a diamond as you saw Sheldon do there. So keep an eye as you watch Brent wrap the bottom. If drivers start to use that outside to their advantage, if it starts to come in, it looks like Sheldon maybe went back to the bottom.
All 4 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas in the top 11 right now. Cruz having another good outing. Talked to him prior to the green flag today. Qualified 10th, won the ARCA East race here a year ago. Feeling confident, making his 4th career start. Arby's onboard camera. Dylan told us in pre-race coverage, a lot of talk in the garage about driver number 1 in this team, and so far Quapple delivering 4th in the running order.
And that was a beautiful pass, just straight drove by Taylor Gray 1 and 2. Usually as the inside car through 1 and 2, when they squeeze your right rear quarter panel, it can get really tough on the exit, but he was able to just slip on by and now tracking down his teammate in 3rd.
Dylan, he's living up to pre-race expectations. 1 looks solid.
And he's also living up to kind of what Rodney told me as well about their long run speed. They were really tight to fire off. Carson came on the radio about 2 laps in and said, I'm shattering the right front. And then he settled in, and here they are, lap 20. He's on the charge back forward. So didn't lose too much, didn't lose any track position really at the start, but starting to go the right direction here as the run develops. So good things for the 1. Here's the 54 looking inside.
Oh, this is getting it real tight.
Yeah, lap traffic always dangerous here. 35 is Joey Gase.
Somehow they made that through that. Yeah, so Carson got checked up there behind Gase and basically got a terrible run out of 2. It gave Taylor Gray a massive run to shoot to the inside as Carson was just catching Justin Allgaier as well. And I was gonna say, wow, that got tied up too. It's always gonna look that way around here. But the thing I was gonna say was that him talking about being tight, I think is an advantage right here on a repave. You know, historically you want to be a little bit more leaned on the right front. It just gives you security in that car that when you're on the looser side, if we've seen some cars that are looser just start to go backwards because all they can do is slow down. When you have some of that security in the right front, you can at least try and you move your line around and make passes.
And it's good maybe that you learn what that dirty air feels like early in the race.
Wow, look back, yeah, just the worst place for Carson Quapple there to catch a lapper, and then they did a great job. They did a great job right there in 3.
I would have said discretion is the better part of valor here, but he just sneaks right through there and is able to maintain the position as Cletus McFarland goes a lap down in the 33. Day driving by, 24 laps in.
You know what's the other thing about Cletus? Ran the ARCA race. Now, here in the O'Reilly Series race. That's a lot of time in a hot day in hot race cars.
It is.
For a guy who hasn't done this often.
At a track, it will just beat you up, right?
It's very physical, high G-loads here around this place, especially on your neck. It's, I think that's another thing that's gonna probably surprise him as he goes along here and runs more and more laps later in this race. If he's able to survive there, it will surprise him how physical this is.
Closing on the midway point of stage number 1 at Rockingham. Let's get to our Arby's leaderboard. Today it's been the Cory Day show. He leads, he's led them all. Love, Allgaier, Quapple, and Taylor Gray, your top 5. Glad you're with us on CW. Closed captioning for today's race brought to you by Tableau TV. Pay once, watch forever. Tableau car this weekend, Ryan Ellis, as it is each and every week. Such a good ambassador there. Unfortunately, just went a lap down. He's 33rd. Cory Day, impressive start.
Yeah, it's tough to combat the pace that Cory Day is setting right now early on in this race, as he gets balked by a couple lappers. But even when he's gotten stuck in lap traffic, the next time he gets clear, he goes right back to being the fastest car on the racetrack.
Going by Josh Bilicki here in the 07. Bilicki finished top 20 in this race a year ago. Next car he'll see, Nathan Bird, who was top 15 in a truck race here last season. So these are drivers that have had positive experiences at this racetrack, but just not able to put up a fight going a lap down early to Cory Day.
And that went perfectly for him there, Nathan Bird and now J.J. Yaley, where it was looking like it could have gotten tight 3 wide, but discretion was a better part of valor for all those drivers. On the right side of your screen, 2 Junior Motorsports drivers, Justin Allgaier and Carson Kvapil, have been in quite the battle for the last 10 or so laps. Justin prevailing now.
It's really interesting when you look at these 2 drivers going at it, because you think about the crew chief change, and Rodney Childers comes over to run the 1 operation, and Andrew Overstreet, who was the crew chief on the 1 last year, now with Justin Allgaier. Both have had tremendous speed in the early portion of the campaign. For Carson, especially when he's been driving this 1 car.
Yeah, he's looked really good behind the 1. I think back to Phoenix as a race that maybe got away from him, and I just consistently have said this and feel this way as we're on the Arby's on board, that he's a driver that when he does break through and get that win, it will open up a lot of opportunity when that pressure is removed. But right now he's got to fight through some of this lap traffic. Taylor Gray is back to him as we look back at replay of teammates. Give him a little love tap.
Kvapil hello. To 3rd, and they continue to go back and forth. And now you see bottom right live, Taylor Gray able to get by that 1, move up to the 4th position. Kvapil back to 5th. Something to think about as we go over the course of a long run for 2nd in lap traffic.
Look where Allgaier's going.
Allgaier, 2 is left. Allgaier said, I'm going to run it to the rim.
Nathan Bird's like, where did he come from? What is happening here? But a great move by Justin Allgaier to get around Jesse Love as he's stuck in traffic, but now Justin's behind Yaley there. How's he easily able to navigate through the outside and out to the inside into 3?
Stage 1, 60 laps. Stage 2 is 60 laps. That final stage going to be right around 120, 125 after everything cycles through. But we say it so much. Track position here is huge, and you have to be able to execute over the course of the long haul, and that 7 really starting to show us something right now.
He is, and one of the things he knows is that some of those drivers in these cars that you're lapping are really hanging on for dear life. At a high-speed racetrack like this, a lot of time in the high bank corners, when those ill-handling cars, you're lapping them, it just can get incredibly tough for them, and he saw this opportunity. A bit of risk going all the way out there on a repave. It's how brave do you want to be out in that gray area. Justin goes up there and gets the big mow off the top to take the place.
And just a little nudge coming through. Thank you very much. See William Sawalich here trying to get another spot. He's up to 8th in the running order. Make it 9th, going for 8th, and does it around Sheldon Creed. Brent Cruz waiting as well in the 19. All 4 Gibbs cars now in the top 10.
And it just amazed me how all these leaders have navigated through this traffic. We've had so many close calls around here as they try to go through all of them.
17, now 16 to go stage 1. Day, your race leader. The Wheeling caution lights are on, the same Wheeling emergency lights and sirens you see on the safety vehicles here at the track are protecting first responders and communities all across America. First yellow of the afternoon, just past 10 laps to go in the opening stage. Cory Day leading. Blake Lothian has it get away from him. He was 1 lap down in 34th.
Right, just lost it there. Being up high on the racetrack, it lacks grip as you get into the gray area up top. But then look at this right there.
Tight.
Guess who that was? None other than YouTube superstar Cletus McFarland. He's gotten on board. I'm sure that's an exciting view. Just tapped him. I don't know how much damage, maybe. Shouldn't be much, but if it caught the car in the wrong way. But I'm sure he would have an entertaining comment off of that one.
Well, it's been a tough start for him. It's also been a tough start for Jeb Burton, who had just gone a lap down. Well-timed caution for him. He's the first car 1 lap down, so Jeb will get the free pass here. And here's what you were talking about, riding on board with Cletus McFarland. He's had a couple of moments early in this race.
Welcome to the O'Reilly Series. Let's take a listen to his radio.
South. Man, he almost got you. Shit, when you said wrecking, I figured it was way ahead of me. And then I saw him and I got way too much speed.
Well, got to keep your eyes up.
Hey, track position is big, so you probably flip the stage here, and that's what we're seeing. All the front runners coming down Progressive Pit Road, led by Cory Day. And that 7 team has the #1 pit stall. Something to think about here, Dylan.
Yeah, and as you'd expect, they were pretty happy with the balance. Cory said it was on the loose side, but not like yesterday. That was their one major battle in practice. They'll go around here and change 4 tires. No adjustments, though, for the 17. They're happy, Kim.
And you see the 2 of Jesse Love and the 7 of Justin Allgaier stopping in their boxes right now. On Jesse Love's machine, he said it trended free. Easy to get the right rear hot, but he said the track tightened up at the end, so leave it alone. They'll put tires, take fuel on that machine. And then for Justin Allgaier, he said, I'm just too free with the right rear. That is where I'm struggling the most, so he's going to tighten it up, Andrew Overstreet, with an air pressure adjustment. No wrenches in that race car.
2-team delivers in the race off Progressive Pit Road, +2 for him, -1 apiece for Day and Allgaier. 4 cars stay out, among them Taylor Gray, who will be the race leader for the restart when we return.
ignition box next.
Caution comes out as we close on the end of stage one. A number of drivers come down the pit lane. If you stayed out, this restart going to be electric. Our coverage on CW today brought to you by Arby's. You know, Sam Mayer's had speed all year long, but it seems like they always have some kind of an issue, and they had it here again today at Rockingham. Listen in.
Plug is on the ball. You feel like it's got to be a plug wire? Sorry, we might have an engine going away, guys. Top here, do what you can with it for now. I don't know. So it could just be a plug wire. Or the white switch.
Right, so they changed plug wires, looked at that, didn't think that was the problem. They have an ignition box on the pit wall they're going to try and fix after this run. You see it right there, so hopefully just hang on here.
Good news, he stayed on the lead lap. Taylor Gray in charge, green flag with 6 to go, stage one.
Jesse Love to the top, 3 wide up there. That can get risky. We see a little grip.
Look at Cory Day coming through.
Oh, there's Anthony Alfredo, super loose in the middle, hangs on to it. What a save.
Alfredo, one of those drivers that stayed out trying to gain some stage points here. Cory Day dominated early from the pole, came down pit road, lost the lead coming off the pit lane, but he's been good on the restart. And tremendous battles all through the field as we fight with stage points, 5 to go.
And this is so treacherous. You saw Alfredo getting loose down into the corner. Jesse Love just tapped the wall off the 2 right there. Everyone's pushing as hard as they can to the end of the stage. And Taylor Gray just doing everything he can to hold off that fast 17, trying to cover his air.
Check out number 8 in the 3rd position, Sammy Smith. Qualified outside the top 15, disappointed, really hadn't gained much ground in that first run of the day, so they stay out. And here we are for the race lead. Cory Day coming through, and he's going to bring Sammy Smith with him. Taylor Gray under attack in 3 and 4. Oh, big wiggle for the 17.
Yeah, you saw he just got pinched off there by Taylor Gray, and that's what he has to do if he's going to combat how fast Cory Day is. He's just got to try and squeeze him. It's going to be almost impossible down into 1. Cory takes the lead.
3 to go in the stage, 17 on point. Brandon Jones waiting right there. Another one of those drivers that made a pit stop. He's on fresher tires. Jesse Love on board here.
Move.
Oh my, 3 wide for position. Maybe not. Everybody hangs on to it.
The Hidden Valley Ranch on board showing all sorts of moves and craziness. You have Sammy Smith on the older tires just hanging on. Jesse Love to his favorite spot up top.
I was going to say you don't see him, but there's Allgaier coming through in the bottom lane in the 7. He's up to 4th. You get out of balance on tires, and the racing just turns to electricity. Gonna come on 1 lap to go, stage 1.
And it's like Jesse Love just kept thinking this outside was gonna work, and the one time it didn't, it really penalized all his momentum that he had there, making up spots as he slots in behind.
Saw the 88 of Raja Karuth. He didn't have a lot of track position, made a pit stop. He's been good since the restart. Into stage 1, there it is. Cory Day finishes the deal. He starts on the pole, dominates early, makes the pit stop, loses the track position, and then boom, unbelievable in that run to the green and white checkered flag. It's his first ever stage win. And behind him, there was a whole lot going on. What a start here at Rockingham. Of those drivers that stayed out, the 4 that did in that cycle of pit stops there right before the end of the stage, Taylor Gray, Sammy Smith, both able to hang on to a spot inside the top 10 and get stage points. And they will pit now to get their scheduled service now that the stage is complete. Here they are, Dylan.
Taylor Gray was reflecting on that charge to the end of stage 1 and was bummed to not get the stage win. Said he had a moment in turn 1, but would have liked to get that extra point. Still got 9 there at the end of stage 1. Said his biggest concern was they just felt snug on corner exit. So it looks like maybe just an air pressure adjustment, 4 tires and fuel for the 54, Kim.
Sammy Smith making his first stop of the day. They had actually intended on stopping at lap 51, that caution with everybody else, but Cory called him in too late. The crew chief apologizing for that, but telling his driver, you hung on great. They did collect a couple of stage points. Sammy just saying 2 free landings, so they do make that left rear wedge adjustment you see right there.
Well, you got to be thankful you got stage points because you lose all that track position now as everybody else stays out. Let's go on board with Jesse Love.
This is high side.
I mean, good night.
Putting on a show.
Just hang on to that thing. Stage 2 coming up. NASCAR on the CW is brought to you by Arby's. We have the meats. Experian. Download the free app now. And by O'Reilly Auto Parts, your professional parts people. You know, when I come here to Rockingham, I feel like I've gone back in time. And one of the elements of that is the train that makes its way in from Raleigh. Let's go down to the Arby's pit box. Kyle Petty, you were over there at the train station earlier today.
Yeah, I was the greeter, man. When they got off, I was standing there telling them where to pick up their luggage. That's the way it was. It was so cool. I've been down here so many times. I've come in a car, I've come in a helicopter, flown down here, never by train. I'm going to go by train next time. I'm going to tell you, it was so cool to see these people, and they were so excited to be here. Train left Raleigh, it stopped in Cary, stopped in Southern Pines, stops at Gate E right across, and when the race is over, be there. The train's headed back to Raleigh.
You need one of those green vests, Kyle, really. I mean, not the state trooper green vest, but if you're going to be the greeter, you got to put the vest on, you know?
Listen, you can't get a ticket on a train when you're running fast. I understand that. That's what I told those state patrolmen. I said, next time, the safe way is the train, man. They did give me a coin and said to hand it off next time I got stopped for speeding, which will probably be on the way home.
I just imagine the look on the people's faces when they get off the train and Kyle Petty's trying to take a selfie with them.
That's right. Is that Kyle Petty?
Kyle Petty?
I'll say this. I've been in police.
Hey, I was begging them to take selfies with me, man. They don't know who I am.
Three-time Rockingham winner, Kyle Petty. You know, I've been in police escorts with Kyle, and he nearly got a speeding ticket in the police escort.
He also had a slight flex with the helicopter mentioned there, of course. But I've taken a train to Yankee Stadium on the Yankee Clipper, but if you told me there was a train that brought me to a racetrack, I might have been in heaven, by the way. That sounds so cool.
It's one of the cool aspects of racing here. So everything is cycled through. By the way, Blaine Perkins got the free pass. Jordan Anderson Racing has picked up 2 of those here today. The guys that pitted, Sammy Smith, Taylor Gray, going to restart outside the top 20 here after they made those stops and getting those stage points. Cory Day is in control, takes the inside lane here for the restart as we begin stage 2. Going to be just over 50 laps left after everything cycled through. To his right, Brandon Jones.
Oh, and he spun the tires a little bit there for Cory Day. See if he's able to clear Brandon down into 1. You have the distance advantage, which he does, and he's able to clear him off the 2. That's the reason you pick the inside, is it just gives you a little bit of a distance advantage, but you gotta get him cleared before turn 2.
Brandon Jones slides into second. Got to give some love to William Sawalich. Having a great day. Made his way into some stage points there at the end of that opening stint of the race. Now racing Justin Allgaier for third. They're side by side, and right behind him another Chevy and Toyota. Cruz in the 19, and the 2 is Jesse Love, who shoots out of line. And he's racing with Raja Caruth. They had that long conversation last week.
A little bit of history from last week there. I don't know if that was truly intentional by Raja. He was trying to get to the inside, but definitely tagged the rear bumper of Jesse Love, which unsettled him and knocked him up into the wall. That's the second time Jesse Love has gotten that outside wall down the backstretch. One time by himself. Let's take a look back here. So Jesse slots up at the same time. Raja's coming down the track, mistimes it, tags his rear bumper. They somehow get away with it, but I think he wasn't happy about that.
Let's go back to what we saw last week at Martinsville. Both these drivers should have finished in the top 10, but the back and forth really hurt their chances late.
Yeah, this is one of those situations where you let your emotions get the better of you and not look at the bigger picture. They both stopped each other from having better results than they should have had. And I think they left this not really apologizing, but just thinking, we both disagree on how that went down. But I loved Raj's comments to us yesterday in practice, where he stood firm in his ground of saying, I don't know what the conversation really solved, but I'm ready to move on, and I'm racing my race.
I love that he's a student of the game and searching respect. I love the leadership and the maturity of Jesse Love in that situation. Good battle for a spot here inside the top 10. Great day going for Jeremy Clements in the 51. He was top 10 here a year ago, and racing Parker Retzloff. Retzloff did get stage points, so he's backing up his good day here from last season. And now we go full throttle with Sound Gear. Wherever sound is a problem, Sound Gear has the solution. Scan the QR code to learn more at soundgear.com. Turn it up.
so fast. It's hard for me to describe to you, though. I think those outside static shots on the wall do a great job of showing the speed. But to experience what it is inside the race cars, Dean Thompson's on pit road here. Got to think it's possibly an issue. I knew he was off pace there for a saw maybe a corner or two ago.
Well, we talked so much in the last handful of weeks about Sam Hunt Racing and the frustrations and the disappointment. You know, Dean had a great run last week at Martinsville, was good here a season ago with a stage win, and Harrison Burton has been good here. He's 11th right now. What was the problem for the 26 unscheduled stop, Kim?
Yeah, flat right front for Dean Thompson, so very upset about it. They had high hopes for today after last weekend's top 10 at Martinsville, and then remember they finished 11th last year here at the Rock. But as we look at this onboard from Jesse Love, the Hidden Valley Ranch onboard, that contact with Caruth, Jesse was hot under the helmet, yelled, "The side of my car is killed." It was expletive laced. Now, he does have a different spotter in his ear this weekend, and I talked to crew chief Danny Stockman about this. Mike Dillon on top of the spotter stand instead of Jesse's regular spotter, Brandon Manesh. And Danny was actually happy about that, not because they don't like Brandon, just because Mike is a very positive force. He's energizing. So after Jesse came on the radio and was upset with the Rajah contact, got on, kind of refocused his driver, said eyes forward. So again, a number of these drivers using different spotters with it being a cup off weekend this weekend.
Well, and as tight as the racing is here, that's got to be very challenging as a driver.
It is, especially in those moments on the restarts. As you go to the flow of a race, it's pretty simple to adjust to a spotter, especially one with the experience that Mike Dillon has. But, you know, it's just, it's all about timing. And we talk about this all the time, especially at super speedways, where, you know, you got to get to a point in your spotter, and you do get this point naturally where you can sense from their voice inflections how close the move is, where the other cars are. And when you get thrown someone else, it can be an adjustment for sure. And so it just takes you out of your normal moves. But I think Mike, I know, has a lot of experience on the spotter stand, and I don't think that situation particularly was maybe spotter as much as just close racing.
Racing there with Jet Burton, and you saw Taylor Gray. Here he is in the 54 up in front of him. Taylor second in stage one after staying out when Minnie pitted right at 10 laps to go, trying to drive back through after losing that track position. 20th, trying to get to 19th here, racing the 32 of Andrew Patterson. Andrew doing an outstanding job in his second career start.
Really good run here. Just really consistent. He's been inside the top 20 times. Was ahead of his teammate Jet Burton for a while in that first stage, so just doing a great job.
The other driver that had stayed out, picked up some stage points and lost the track position on the cycle, Sammy Smith, being scored in the 16th spot right now. This for 7th, Rajah Caruth, Jeremy Clements. Well, things getting physical. Ride with Jet Burton here. And 7th, Josh Balicki. You'll have that at Rockingham. Test your luck and make your power play by heading to your local lottery retailer to get in the game for tonight's estimated Powerball jackpot of $217 million. A couple of drivers, I would say, that have hit the jackpot in this race. One, Cory Day, who's leading all these laps. The other, and we were talking about him going to break, I referenced Jeremy Clements. Man, he has been impressive here today. When we go to our Powerball power movers, you see Clements is on the board at +9.
Oh, no!
Man, I feel responsible. Caution number 3. Wheel and caution lights are illuminated, and it's for the 51 Clements, who was 9th. Jeremy, I'm sorry.
He's absolutely going to call you when he watches this back and say, come on, Adam, what was that?
Now, I will say in fairness, I was selling him before the break.
That is true.
So, you know.
I can attest to that.
Good news is, great save, kept it off the wall. We got a long way to go today, and he has got an incredible race car.
Yeah, and the way that car jumped out, I have to wonder if he had a couple wiggles the prior laps off of 4. He got really close to Raja Caruth a couple laps before that off the corner. I don't know if he maybe has a tire going down, but the way that car just snapped, it wiggled and then just goes right there. So slightly odd. You know, we mentioned earlier in the race how at a repave you don't want to go into that gray, but they've really moved the groove up in this racetrack. So that is odd how it just sort of snapped around on him.
Josh Williams gets the free pass. He scored in the 27th position. Williams, another driver that finished top 10 here at Rockingham a year ago.
But it's also an example if he doesn't, if they don't see that a tire is low there or going down, it's just the knife edge you are on around this place, especially when you're leaning on that right rear. You don't have a lot of leeway. There's not a lot of give. You're really on a tight edge in terms of how much you can slide that right rear and hang it out before it's going to overheat and just give out like his did.
1-800-PACK-RAT onboard camera looking into the eyes and now over the shoulder of Austin Hill, who's 13th, a team that has not made a lot of progress here today.
No, and he seemed optimistic in our pre-race when we talked to him, but they just have not seemingly had the handle here on the 21. Fell back pretty hard in the first stage.
Came in top 5 in points, won the season opener at Daytona, and we could have won Atlanta. Had a really good outing at COTA, some bumps in the road since then. Darlington, the one that really got him. Other than that, been top 12 on a regular basis so far in 2026. We're at an interesting time. A lot of drivers flipped the stage at the end of stage 1, but that caution was with 10 to go. You got 25 to go here. And Jesse Love, who got into the wall there, comes down. A few others, including Clements, who had the slide to bring out the caution. But most of those front runners staying out right now. Just a little too much time left in the stage to give up the track position. Here's Jesse Love, Kim.
Yeah, Jesse just a little closer to neutral on the last run, a bit snug in the center, but he doesn't feel like he's losing speed there. Feels like he loses speed from being free on exit, so they will look for a slight adjustment on that 2 car as he makes a stop in his box right now.
Well, we're probably going to get a show. You put him back there and watch him drive through. Track position has been a big deal, but if anybody can make it work, I think Love can.
He has not been afraid to move around this racetrack at all and get to the high side, make passes.
And driving angry is a thing, is it not?
It is.
The wheel and caution lights are on. What you're seeing on the track right now is the same wheel and emergency warning technology used by police, fire, and EMS vehicles across America. Trusted every day to protect those who protect us. Getting ready for the restart here. Cory Day once again takes the inside lane. Now look at those top four prior to the choose. You got two teenagers, a 20-year-old, a 29-year-old. I mean, it's incredible what these young drivers are doing, and Day's leading the charge.
And I've seen Cory Day learning in real time. I just saw him do some large spinning of the rear tires there down the backstretch, just getting the rear tires prepped better. He spun them on that last restart, which didn't get the best launch. To see if he does a better job this time.
21 laps to go, stage 2, as we get the green flag once again here at Rockingham.
A way better start for him as Brendan Jones spins the tires there on the outside and checks up the rear, the whole line there. William Sawalich got very sideways.
Sawalich said, I'll race my teammate, trying to get second away from Jones. He settles in line. Second, third, and fourth, all from Joe Gibbs Racing. Teammates from JRM looking at it for fifth. Allgaier is there, and Raja Caruth continues the climb.
Cory Day vaults away once again into the safety of clean air. Justin Allgaier looks at a trio of Gibbs cars he's going to try and get through.
Riding on board with Quapple here, using that outside lane. Racing with Caruth, and right behind Raja, 99, Parker Retzlaff having a day. You know, Sheldon Creed had drifted outside the top 10. Double Zero is back. And look who's right there with him. Harrison Burton into 24. They absolutely have to have this.
They need this day. This year has gotten off to such a tough start, but last weekend showed some light at the end of the tunnel, leading laps at Martinsville, place he's won. And this looks like a classic Harrison Burton day that we saw last year when he was at AM Racing. He just would find a way to methodically get better and end up with a great finish. And right now putting themselves in a way better position than they started, just moving through the field. This is what we expect to see out of Harrison Burton.
Well, you referenced last year what he was able to do driving for AM Racing. AM did not come this weekend. They backed out and not racing. Hopefully we'll see him again before the season is out, but missing the 25 here at Rockingham.
Yeah, really unfortunate for Nick Sanchez. We hope that we'll see him back at the racetrack soon in AM Racing, as they had a tough start to the year not to be here. A young talent who won last year. You want to see him in a race car.
You know, if you go back behind that group, Harrison Burton is there, Austin Hill, not too far behind them, knocking on the door of the top 10, the 8 and 54, Sammy Smith, Taylor Gray. Remember, they have a little bit fresher tires. They stayed out, ran it long at the end of the stage to get those stage points, so they compromised their track position, but they're starting to get some of it back here. Huge for them.
This was a big question mark coming into today, right? What would be the value of newer tires? Talking to crew chiefs and drivers from yesterday, they felt like that tire wear was, you know, a little larger than we had last year. The fall off was a little greater. So, oh wow, what a move there by Sheldon to the bottom.
Thinking 2 for 1, maybe.
He backed out. Yeah, that was smart. It's so enticing to do that because as he tries to complete this on Carson Quapple off of 2, the way it's shaped down into 1, you can shortcut the track in a lot of ways, but when you get there, suddenly you go, uh-oh, I've got to actually turn. And so that was smart of him to back out.
Talking about these young drivers at the front, 20-year-old is leading, a 19-year-old now second as Sawalich dives around Brandon Jones. Brent Cruz, who just turned 18, is fourth right now. All three of those young drivers looking for their first career victory in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. And, you know, the 18 great last year involved in a crash, and they're showing what they have once again here today, Dylan.
Yeah, you're exactly right. They were running third last year at the end of stage 1 before that contact. So I spoke with Jeff Mendering, and he felt like they were going to be just as strong today. But that's kind of been the story of the year. They've had some flashes of speed. They just need to put it all together. They feel like they're actually even better than last year at a lot of these places, just have had some bad luck and some bad circumstances. So just got to finish the deal here, and they're already further along in this race than they were a year ago. And the 18 has been pretty happy with his balance all day long, too.
The one thing they've done as well this year, they've gotten some stage points to minimize the damage when they've had those days where they recorded a DNF or the latter part of the race didn't go their way. So even though they've had the problems, they come into today 14th in the standings, right there for a chase position. Brent Cruz went around his teammate, so put the 19 into third, and Allgaier working over Jones now for the 4th position. 7's been pretty quiet since the early going.
Yeah, he's been hanging out there, I think, just doing veteran things that we see out of Justin all the time. But one of the things that caught my eye there was as William Swalich got by Brendan Jones, Brendan had a big moment into 3. That allowed Brent Cruz to get inside of him, and then Justin to get to his rear bumper. And this racetrack is different than it raced last year in terms of it's definitely widened out. You see Brandon using that higher lane right here, 1 and 2. It's gotten wider, but the dominant line is definitely the same, but it still is finicky in that it doesn't give you a lot of room for mistakes. If you have a moment, you pay the price not only for that corner, but it seems like 2 or 3 corners after that, if you overheat those rear tires, you got to give them a chance to cool down as Allgaier's now there to the inside.
Well, with 10 laps now, 9 to go in the stage, you want to get every position you can because it helps your situation when you come onto pit road and creates a little bit of an opportunity to win a battle there, maybe 2, that then insert some track position as you get ready for that final stage. Racing hard as they come off the corner and back to 8 laps remaining in the stage.
How cool is that? They all went to the top right there. Brandon and Justin to the highest lane. Then Justin turns down, diamonds the corner, shortcuts it, and gets the run down the straightaway. That's the rock right there. That's awesome.
Allgaier to 4th as you check the numbers on Brandon Jones. And we go back to the front. Haven't said enough about Cory Day because he's been checked out. He's led the most laps by a Hendrick car at Rockingham in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series today since Brett Bodine in 1985. He led over 100, went on to win the race. And when you think about, 2 of the last 3 races, Day has led laps, but it's been in little spurts. Today, he's just got the stick out and hit him over the head.
This is a special performance, and it started yesterday with winning the pole. But, considering he hadn't been here in the O'Reilly Series before, his, watching his maturation and his learning of these cars and understanding the aero and his great runs that he's had have led to this moment. But this is definitely the breakout performance that we've seen of Cory Day in the season, and it's once again a testament that we've said with those great runs as to why Rick Hendrick and Jeff Gordon and Kyle Larson have spoken his praises. This is what they expected out of that young man. He's delivering.
Okay, he might be out of balance on tires later because he made the pit stop here. But Jeremy Clements, after the slide comes down pit road, he is driving through already back to the top 10, showing just how fast that car is, and he goes right around Quapple for 9th.
Can't keep a good man down, not even you, Adam.
I'm so afraid to say good things about him.
What are you doing?
But here he is, plus 16, as you look at our Powerball power movers.
That's awesome. Good for him. It's awesome to see this run. He's got a tremendous amount of speed, and one of the things I've noticed about his car is, I think, he did spin out there. There's another wiggle. I was going to say, it's still on the edge, but he's wheeling it towards the front.
4 to go in the stage, Dylan.
Yeah, and the 1 is fading. They've got a potential brake issue. Carson said that the brake pedal was getting long, and that's progressed to a vibration that Rodney Childers just thinks are the rotors that are basically shaking. So they told him to leave the brake fans off, but just monitoring that situation. He's been really tight all day. I'm not sure if that's caused him to have to use more brake, and it's maybe led to something like this, but they're monitoring this situation, just trying to nurse it home to the end of stage 2.
Yeah, there's a few reasons as to why that can happen. So what happens is if you're using a lot of brake and heating them up and then they cool down a ton down the straightaways, and with those brake fans, they can get warped and sort of get some of that shake that they're talking about. The other side is if you're overusing them, you can overheat them, obviously, and the pedal can get long, but I would suspect it's most likely the case where it's been that they're cooling down too much, because as you go through the runs here, you historically just use less and less brake. It's Brent Cruz there in the throttle at that point as a big moment.
Hey, I said into stage 1, watch the 7. Really good on the long haul. Should get a long run, final stage, longest of the day, and we've seen Allgaier really deliver in the latter part of a run. Cory Day, have a day. Starts on the pole. The only laps he didn't lead in a cycle of strategy at the end of stage 1. He had 27 stage points coming into today. He's got 20 this afternoon with a stage sweep. First 2 career stage victories for Cory Day, who's been absolutely dominant, leading 100 14 laps. Sawalek second, Allgaier, Cruz, Jones, the top 5. But there's no doubt the man everybody's talking about in Rockingham, North Carolina is Cory Day. Driver 17 has it in the win. As we head into our final stage of the day, it's time to refuel. And Arby's has got you covered with a $7.99 meat and 3 box that's loaded with all your Arby's favorites. Your choice of a sandwich, plus mozzarella sticks, curly fries, a peach cobbler roll, and a small drink. Scan the QR code to order now in the Arby's app. Arby's, we have the meats. And since we're doing that Arby's thing, let's go to the Arby's pit box. Kyle Petty with us today. Hey, even you can say good things about Cory Day. I mean, the guy has just been remarkable, Kyle.
He has been incredible. I think we saw it in that piece before in pre-race when Mark Martin talked about it, Jeff Burton, Jamie McMurray, Matt Kenseth, they talked about it. I think Cory Day's the only one that paid attention to that piece. Patience, respect for the racetrack, understand, get in that Rockingham rhythm. He is doing what we've seen so many guys in the past, whether it's David Pearson, Dale Earnhardt Sr., Mark Martin, when he won so many races down here, they just get in that rhythm and they can do no wrong. On the racetrack, he's biding his time, making moves when he has to. And yeah, it looks easy when you're leading, but Parker knows it. Sometimes it's harder when you're leading to get into that rhythm and stay.
Good point.
Really big right now, you execute on pit road.
Right.
You
Yeah,
want to
it's very
maintain
important.
the track position and keep control of the race.
And that team has had some occasional issues on pit road at times, but they've been very clean here today. And if you want to execute a full race, this is one of those important moments to nail this stop.
Last time a Hendrick car swept the stages, last May at Charlotte, William Byron took stage 1, stage 2, went on to win the race. He's a series champion. Cory Day looking like one here today. Progressive pit road is open. Wow, a little bit of movement there as we come onto the pit lane. Here they are, Dylan.
William Sawalich will be the first one to peel off from second. Said he was loose in. He has been that way the last couple of runs. Felt like he wore out the right front there. He'll change 4 tires and add fuel. Cory Day said he trended tight. That's built in slowly each run today. Not going to overreact with a chassis adjustment. Just want to get some longevity into it, Kim.
Yeah, for Brent Cruz, very happy with that race car. He said if we get this thing in clean air, it's going to be a bad deal for everyone else. You see the crew going to the left side, 4 fresh Goodyear tires. Sunoco Fuel just felt really tight on exit. You see Justin Allgaier right there on the right side of your screen. You saw that chassis adjustment. That was for rear lateral. He needed more security, but he also needed the front tires way freer. So Andrew Overstreet making an air pressure adjustment to help that.
Race off Progressive pit road. Ryan Sieg had pitted at lap 96, so they come down here maybe playing a little strategy. Jesse Love does stay out. And I look right there, Cory Day lost 5 positions,
Wow.
so he's going to be compromised here when we get the restart. You see the race off, final stage on the way from Rockingham on CW. NASCAR on the CW is brought to you by Golden Corral. Golden Corral honors our nation's heroes. Progressive Insurance. Get in the savings lane today. Visit progressive.com. And by the Credit One Bank, NASCAR American Express card. Back at Rockingham, and now we do our Golden Moment, brought to you by Golden Corral. You know, one of the other problems that you face when you come to Rockingham is this pit road. It can be a tough place. And a tight moment here for Raja Carruth coming in.
Yeah, you referenced it when we were coming onto pit road. Here's the checkup, and he goes, whoa! They checked up way faster than he anticipated. That happens when any pit road you come on. If there's a big gap, you got to anticipate that everyone sort of condenses. It gets an accordion effect, and you got to anticipate where you need to slow up.
I thought maybe he was looking at his gauges to get right coming in, and then looks up. It's like,
no.
Don't text while you're driving.
No,
you know what I mean?
It's really what you accelerate really quick to get to the rear bumper, but then sometimes you mistime it. I used to just always run in the rear bumper of the person in front of me and say, sorry.
Getting ready for the restart. Aerial coverage provided by GovX. Jesse Love stays out. It was fuel only for Ryan Sieg. They had come down at lap 96. And Love is in control. Cory Day restarts inside of that fourth row as we get going once again at Rockingham. Final stage underway.
And Jesse went straight up the racetrack. He had a big push there from William Sawalich on the restart, but then just couldn't hold it there on those older tires. Down into one. Let's see if he can fight back on the outside through 3 and 4.
Also wanted to pay off Jeremy Clements, came down there. He was out of balance on tires because of that unscheduled stop they had made. Got a speeding penalty, so Jeremy Clements fans going to have to watch him drive through the field again. Brandon Jones sliding wide. Allgaier comes through. Sawalich fighting for the lead. Brent Cruz to the inside. Look to make it 3 wide as Love gets away. And contact between teammates. Ryan Sieg now a part of the mix in the 39.
Brent Cruz wanted to go. He got to the inside, but got squeezed there by Sawalich. And Sawalich paid the price of getting knocked up the racetrack. Just a hip check there because the awkward angle that Brent Cruz got into the corner, didn't have the side force, got away from him and got into his teammate.
Boy, Jesse Love getting the lead here and pulling away. He made that pit stop at lap 96, just rode around taking care of his tires, and it's paying off right now as we go back and watch these young teammates going at it.
Yeah, and that's just the force so low there, Brent Cruz, because of them being on the inside of Jesse Love at one point. He had such an awkward angle into turn 3. There was no way he was going to get that car turned without sliding up the racetrack a little bit where he met his teammate, William Sawalich.
Combination of strategy and not as good execution as you would like on the pit lane has put Cory Day behind the 8 ball for the first time today. He's back there in the 8th position. We'll find out what he has right here. Watching Sammy Smith in the 8. Didn't qualify great. Stayed out there at the end of stage 1 to get some points, but he's back up to 12th in the running order.
He's been fighting all day. Every time we check in with Sammy Smith, it just seems like he's in a battle from all sides inside that 8 car. He wasn't happy with it after practice or qualifying, and I think that showed up the race, and just trying to have one of those days where you put together the best race you can. You get done with days like this, if they're successful, which is relative, it can be just a top 10, and you think, you know what, I got everything I could out of that. Oh, what do we got here?
28's Kyle Sieg, Jeb Burton in the 27. See Brennan Poole there as well in the 44. This just outside the top 15.
Or that congestion off of 2. When cars are side by side, it can cause a lot of checkups.
Taylor Gray, another one of those drivers, played the strategy game at the end of stage 1, was second in the stage, got those 9 stage points, but lost the track position. 54, starting to drive back to the front. He's 15th. It's been a good day for Joe Gibbs Racing. 3 of their Toyotas in the top 7. Gray the only one that is not, and it's because of the games they have played chasing points here today.
Taylor Gray seems to struggle a little bit on the short run, I've noticed, and then especially through the mid portion of the run, but we saw at the end of stage 1, it came back to him on the long run. That's tough when you've got to survive with a car that doesn't quite get up and go when you want it there on the restarts, and then try to navigate your way forward, a place that's hard to pass, high speed like this. It's tough to be patient and let it come back to you. This has really worked out for Jesse Love, where he was able to stay in that clean air. It's exactly what he and Danny Stockman wanted, but Brent Cruz is coming fast.
The clean air is everything, but there is a difference on tires here. And even though Love rode around to take care of his at the end of the stage, did a great job executing the plan, eventually you gotta believe you give it up. And tell you what, Brent Cruz is right there.
And you saw Jesse Love's right hand go down there. That was the brake bias knob. He was twisting it to the right, possibly going to the rear. Feels like it could be a little tight right now, trying to get that car to turn down into the corner better. We saw him go straight up the racetrack on the restart, so just trying to move that bias towards the back and get the car rotated better.
And these two racing each other has opened the door for Justin Allgaier, who's up to third in as good a position really as he's been in a while. And we have loved his car over the long haul today, talking about Allgaier. Now we're in the final stage. We'll see if he can make something of it. And Day is under attack. He's back there in 8th, and Parker Retzloff right in his hip pocket.
Well, one of the things we heard on pit road there was that he felt like it was building tighter and they didn't make a major adjustment. Remember, he's been in clean air almost this entire race except for that one restart. Now in dirtier air, I was wondering if they fell back, if they'd have to make a bigger adjustment as Cruz is the inside of Love.
Battle for the race lead. Here he is, just turned 18 years old. Brent Cruz won the ARCA East race here last year, and he now leads in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, driving around the reigning champ, Jesse Love. How good does it feel to be barely 18 at a tough racetrack, and in your rearview mirror, the last two guys that have won championships at this level? Allgaier is third, looking to the outside, and he's gonna get second away from Love, and William Sawalich, who's having a great day, could be the next to drive through.
Yeah, this was a tough spot for Jesse Love to be able to combat that move by Allgaier to the outside. Once he got to the right rear, he almost had to give up the spot, essentially. Just being on a bit of a tire deficit. Kim, you have more on Jesse?
Couple things we need to take note on Jesse Love. First of all, came on the radio and said he felt like he had vibration in the brakes, so we'll keep an eye on that. And then the other thing we talked about, the strategy play because of the race they've had. They came down lap 96, took tires, he babied those tires to make it through the restart here and make it into the next stop. But the thing we need to note, he stopped on 96. The other cars stopped on 125. That is about a 30-lap deficit in terms of the window he'll have to come earlier for fuel. And so what he risks is he's going to have to come earlier. You do not want to pit under green at Rockingham if you can help it. So they're going to hope for a caution. Most of the crew chiefs I talked to said, you know, if you pit at the end of stage 2, you're going to run as long as you can into that final stage, hoping you get a caution so you don't have to pit under green. So Jesse Love, while that was a good strategy call, based on the race they've had, they will have to pit a little bit earlier if we go green before the rest of the field. Dylan?
And something else to note on the Cory Day cars, he's back to 9th right now. Adam Wall, the crew chief, purposely didn't make a big adjustment on that last stop because they were planning to be at the front of the field, but lost all that track position in the cycle of the pit stops, and now they're back in traffic with a car that's set up to not be in traffic. So it kind of went from bad to worse there when they lost all those spots. I haven't heard him say much about the balance so far this run, but obviously it's not the speed or the car handling that they had at the front of the field all day today.
It's a great point, Dylan. That's exactly what I was referencing, was they didn't make those adjustments. They had a slower stop here, it looks like on the right side, possibly on the right front. Just a tick slower there, so basically put them a little further back than they wanted to be, and you've got to make adjustments for that. If you're tight, you end up just with a car that's going to be even worse as you get back in traffic and that dirty air compared to what you had up front. Also, the track is changing. That's some of the risk you run if you lead a race and dominate it with a little bit of inexperience. You don't know what to tell your crew chief to change as you go into that third stage.
He had fallen to 9th, back to 8th is Cory Day, getting around Ryan Sieg, who's on those older tires. How about the young superstar out front, Brent Cruz leading at Rockingham? Beautiful Saturday afternoon in Rockingham, North Carolina. You're watching the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series on CW, brought to you by Arby's. While we were in break, you saw it side by side, unscheduled pit stop for Jesse Love. Let's listen to two-team radio presented by Starkey. Scan the QR code now.
So I know what to die here. It's vibrating so bad I need a racetrack. I get the corner and bro. Second, just come to me. No, the right front was blue. Put it on. Put the right sides on.
And so you heard that in-car audio from the 2-car of Jesse Love. They came down, they looked at the wheel studs, ready to put a spacer in. Ultimately, kind of heard at the tail end of that radio, loose right front wheel on Jesse Love's machine.
In that exchange, he loses 3 laps. 33rd right now is our reigning champ. And his buddy's on the other end of it. Brent Cruz on cruise control right now. 92 to go, and he's out front.
Yeah, that's so unfortunate for Jesse Love. When you talk about a loose wheel, especially at a place this fast, that vibration and how much you're in the throttle and in the corner around here, you heard him describe it. He couldn't even see. It's tough to describe what that vibration is like, but it feels like the world is shaking around you. An earthquake is occurring inside that race car, so it's incredibly hard to drive. Had to pit.
Cory Day trying race to 1. Carson Kvapil for 7th. They've gone back and forth here. Day's been a bit of a yo-yo since we got the restart. Lost some positions, has gained some back, and working over Kvapil here down to the inside.
Not quite going to work for him. Didn't have the positive momentum off of 4. Kvapil able to fight back. Some of the momentum then gets real sideways there. Cory Day slots back in behind Carson Kvapil. Gonna have to do it all over again. Try the outside this time.
Got to be some frustration here for Cory Day when you go out and lead 118 laps from the pole and win stage 1 and stage 2. But he's in the top 10 again. Tremendous learning experience and obviously not giving up. Oh! I mean, a little flash to what he does on the dirt. You said slide job. Just get by and hang on to it.
That was about as close to a slide job as you can have at Rockingham. Throwing it down into 1. He had the positive momentum off the top side of 4. Used the side draft, broke a little bit later, had a shallower entry, used less distance to slide up in front of the 1 of Carson Kvapil, and Kvapil gave him a little shot just to say, I didn't like that. I don't want to get past.
They're kind of teammates, right?
Yeah.
Junior Motorsports, Hendrick Motorsports. Chevy's been so good this year, but it's a Toyota out front right now. You saw the numbers for Joe Gibbs Racing. Tough start for this group, but one bright spot, no doubt, on a consistent basis when he has been here has been Brent Cruz. Rule change this year. You can run in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series at age 17 at road courses and any track a mile in length or less. So he was able to race at Coda, where he did lead some laps, finished inside the top 10, made an appearance at Phoenix, was good to go last week at Martinsville, and now he's turned 18, so he is full tilt. But when he has showed up, he let everybody know, I am here to play, and what we're seeing here this afternoon, very, very impressive as the Whelen caution lights are on. 5th time we've seen him today. And it's for the 96 of Anthony Alfredo, who it's been a lot of time right around 15th.
Got a tire down there on the left front. This is post a spin off of 4.
Okay. The caution comes out at a very interesting time.
Very interesting time.
I mean, we're pretty much right on top of the fuel window. And you and I were talking earlier. If you get inside of 90 laps, given what track position means here, that's not good at all for Alfredo.
That's the whole reason when you have tires down, you hear often crew chiefs and spotters, slow down, we don't want to tear it up further. This is why. When the tire comes apart, it destroys the front of that race car, which took a bad situation and now has made it way worse. And here's the spin. It was off of 4. He was already really sideways, having an issue. And eventually the car got away. Looks like possibly, maybe had a front tire down. Maybe he was trying to get to pit lane late. And then this is exactly what is the nightmare of a crew chief when they hear that you have a flat tire and you're not near the pits. They don't want this to happen.
Let's go back to that strategy conversation. You and I were talking earlier off air. You get to 90 laps, you're pretty much in a spot where you're going to come if the caution comes out. I'm not saying this is perfect for crew chiefs, but a decent amount of comfort here, pitting just over 80 laps to go.
Right, and last year we had some teams who tried to go really far, almost 100 laps on a tank of fuel. That was not able to be done. Talking to some crew chiefs, especially those powered by the Hendrick Motor Shop, basically said they've actually seen a little worse fuel mileage this year, so they didn't feel very comfortable that even at this lap number to go that they could make it. They were looking more to be in the sub 80 laps to go, maybe even in the 70s. So I think you most likely see a lot of takers here on pit road for the fuel, but there might be some nervous crew chiefs if we go all the way, especially with, you know, possibility of a green white checker.
And I would say if you look at last year, you feel like, hey, you're going to get plenty of caution laps to make it work, even if you're close. However, today
hasn't had that feel.
This race just hasn't had that feel. Big thing here, execute on the pit lane, maintain or gain some track position. Cruz leading him down. He's in front of Allgaier, Sawalich, Carruth, and Jones. It's Progressive pit road. Here's Dylan Welch.
And William Sawalich will pit from third. Said he was loose in and off in tight center, but that was getting better. Don't see a chassis adjustment coming, so just air pressure, 4 tires, and get it full of fuel. They think they can make it from here, but as you guys said, it's going to be close, Kim.
Justin Allgaier, he said, I felt pretty good. Not sure what I need to make it better. The 1/3 mark of the corner is his main issue. See him on the right side of the screen. No major adjustments for him. He does want a long run. That car very good on the long run. As you see the 19 off and away, he said just free, but really good in traffic. Actually unbelievable is what he said about that 19 car.
And the 19 team, unbelievable as well. They execute their work, and he wins the race off Progressive.
Is there anyone else there?
I mean, look at that. Allgaier comes off second. It's Clement, Sawalich, and Carruth behind him. We'll get the restart next. NASCAR on the CW is brought to you by Arby's. We have the meats. Progressive. Save when you bundle motorcycle, RV, and boat insurance. Visit progressive.com. And by Toyota. Let's go places. Getting ready for the stretch run here at Rockingham. You know, if there's anyone who knows the value of a good crew. It's the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. That's why they want to put the spotlight on the pit crew members that are essential to a race team's success. Let's go down to Kim Kuhn.
Well, Adam, I think we know Sam Hunt, but let's meet his brother, Joe. You're seeing him on screen right now, who works on the 26 team. While Joe did play D1 football in college as a tight end for James Madison University, he took a different route than most former athletes in racing. And instead of going over the wall, he works as an underneath mechanic for the team. You see some of those old football shots right there, a little throwback. Well, after college, he actually worked on the ocean rescue team at Corolla Beach, so like real-life Baywatch. But then at the end of 2022, wanted to do something different. He and Sam had a conversation about the race team running a second car. Sam told Joe if he wanted to spot on the team, he'd have to commit immediately. So a week or so later, Joe showed up on Sam's doorstep with a suitcase and a TV, he told me, and lived with Sam and Sam's wife for a year while learning the ropes. And Joe joked that it stinks having your big brother as a boss because he's bossy, but then he kind of said, no. It's actually great, especially because he can be a support system for Sam in a different way than if Joe did not work in racing and understand kind of the ins and outs and things that Sam goes through.
Well, you know, football went a long way to helping the Hunt family get into racing as well, and a connection to J.D. Gibbs and Joe Gibbs Racing. And so, you know, football families becoming racing families, and a great story there by Kim. So, hey, 19. Took 2 tires. That's why they jetted off in front of everyone. Interesting call here for Seth Chapka. They maintain the track position. Brent Cruz control car on the inside to his right. Justin Allgaier, who got 4. Restart, 79 to go at Rockingham.
Great restart there by Brent Cruz, but Williams Sawalich to the inside. Brent was focused on trying to get up beside the 7. Allgaier gave the inside to Sawalich, who's going to take the lead off of 2.
How about it? Cruz maybe kissed the wall coming off the corner. 18 on point. The teenagers from Joe Gibbs Racing trading spots at the front. Brandon Jones right there from JGR as well as Allgaier looked for second. And back behind him 3 wide in that group, Cory Day, who was 12th at the restart.
Oh, there goes Sieg into Clements left rear.
Second time today we've seen a getaway from Jeremy Clements. And the Whelen caution lights are on for a 6th time this afternoon.
You thought it was maybe going to happen between the 3 that were actually 3 wide, but it was Jeremy Clements slowing up on the high side because he was in an awkward position there, being on the outside of 3 wide. Sieg didn't anticipate it, ran into the back of Jeremy Clements. Spun him around as Sam Mayer heads to the garage of that wounded 41 car that's been struggling this whole race with the mechanical issue.
He'd been last on the leaderboard all day long. I mean, they had the problems early, came down, never got it resolved, stayed on the lead lap for a good portion of time, eventually just lost traction on the day, and now he's taking it to the garage.
That's such a shame for Clements, who's having an awesome race as we look back at this. So you'll see Cory Day's going to jet forward. He drove it really hard in the corner trying to clear them. Clements trying to do the smart thing, backed out of it. As you see, the 39 was caught him so quickly, and Ryan just didn't anticipate that correctly. Gets into his left rear and spins him out. The 51 hits the wall in a way to rip apart the rear. Lucky not to get nailed here as he came down the track.
Especially this early in a restart when there's so much traffic. Really nice effort by all these drivers and their spotters to make sure they get through unscathed. Well, we said it had been a quiet day in regard to cautions.
Yeah.
Sometimes we've said it so many times that cautions do breed cautions. And number 6 coming out shortly after we got number 5.
I think Clements is going to watch this race back and ask you to just keep quiet.
That's right.
Going forward.
Right, I'm sure social media will show me a lot of love as well. What's going on, Kim?
Yeah, let's talk about Brent Cruz. Not quite the restart he wanted. You guys reported about that 2 tires they took on that last stop after we just went under caution. Brent saying, oh, why did we take 2 tires? He took a beat and said, it's okay, we'll be okay. And then Seth Chofka, the crew chief, coming on saying, my bad. So obviously that young driver wishing he was on offense with 4 tires instead of 2 right side tires.
It was an odd call. We questioned it. I don't know why you would do that, looking at the longest run of the day potentially. And just with a car that was in the lead, you've got the clean air advantage. Why compromise yourself by taking 2 tires?
Top 5 with 75 laps to go. William Sawalich, Brent Cruz, Justin Allgaier, Brandon Jones, Sheldon Creed. Caution number 6 at Rockingham. Okay, Parker, listen up. Who needs Jimmy and Jimmy when you can have Johnny? Relive Late Night with the King, Johnny Carson on Antenna TV. Weeknights, 11 Eastern. Late Night TV, how it was meant to be. Antenna TV. To find Antenna TV over the air on your cable system, go to antennatv.tv.
Oh, simple enough.
There will be a quiz later.
I feel like we should have Kyle Petty on Late Night TV.
He should have read that promo.
And the Arby's boxes will just get bigger and bigger as we go along.
100%. You're a true content creator. Hey, when Hit the Caution came out, Cory Day decided to come down pit road. So let's hear some radio here. Had a lug nut issue.
I didn't want to lose pit pick for next week. We were missing one on the left run, so we would have. Didn't want to lose that number 1 stall, and this puts us to the good on fuel. Nobody else is guaranteed to the good at this point for green, white checkers and stuff. So take care of it, but get through the field here.
Yeah, and that's the big thing, too, is pit selection next week, as they said, but that also makes them good on fuel. They were a lap or 2 short, only needed another yellow, and they probably would have been good anyways, but now they're good for sure. And if we don't get another yellow, they may be in the catbird seat.
Ryan Ellis gets the free pass here. 25 cars on the lead lap. Day showing 24th. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, is this a celebration, or I think we've got a bigger issue?
Where are the tin cans, right?
Yeah. Just married. Here we do the bear bond. Oh no. Hey, we weren't done yet.
I go back, though, to the Cory Day thing.
That's expensive, by the way.
Yeah, no doubt. I go back to the Cory Day thing and the fact that you come down, obviously, as Dylan said, you want to make sure you're good on fuel. But the wherewithal to say, let's make sure we got the lug nut on so we don't get a penalty after the race and lose pit stall selection. You got the number 1 stall at a place like Bristol. long way to go in this one, but they lose some track position by doing it, but I understand the forward thinking of this group.
Also won both stages. You got 20 points in the bag today. It's going to be a massive points day if you just methodically work yourself forward from here. 72 laps to go, plenty of time to get back towards the top 15, to even maybe the top 10 could be possible with how much speed they've had, and that'll be a massive points day.
We're above the action today here at Rockingham with GovX, providing our aerial coverage. GovX, savings for those who serve. This restart's going to be fun. Cruz, by the way, was second for, there was a minute there where Allgaier was showing second. Used the scoring loops. Cruz is second. He's on the front row with his teammate here. Allgaier restarts inside of row 2. 3 Toyotas from Joe Gibbs Racing up there with Allgaier.
Yeah, and Cruz lost the lead on the bottom. He's got a chance at the top. Let's see if this works out better for him.
71 to go at Rockingham. And I talked about Brandon Jones, Taylor Gray back in the mix as well.
Roger Cruz all the way to the top, a 3 wide there on the outside. Austin Hill, little tap, into Retzloff there.
Look at that outside lane. Cruz able to get through to second. Brandon Jones there as well. Sheldon Creed having a day outside of Allgaier.
Oh, Roger Cruz got too high there in 3 and 4, got in the dust. The dirty stuff, lost a ton of grip. He was using the outside so well, but gave up a ton of positions in doing so.
He's falling outside the top 10. Ryan Sieg trying to take advantage. Just in front of him, Parker Retzloff. Let's go on board Jeb Burton. He's inside the top 15.
It's been a workman's day to get there for the 27, Jeb Burton. Not the day they've been looking for. All the Jordan Anderson Racing cars just looked a bit off this weekend. They've got that affiliation of RCR this year, but they've still a lot to learn for them. And I think this weekend they're going to have a lot to discuss, but trying to get the best day possible out of it.
Late rally, Austin Hill spent a lot of time outside the top 10 this afternoon, but going after Taylor Gray for 7th here.
Retzloff has decided to continue driving that car absolutely sideways down there in 3 and 4. Allows Roger Cruz to get to the inside. That got tight once again.
Look at Harrison Burton hanging tough in that 24 car. As good a day as he's had all year. Prior to today, best run of the season, 17th, so trying to make something happen this afternoon.
Yeah, and he'd really like these two to sort it out. You don't want them side by side in front of you. Let's hold them up, make him vulnerable there to his cousin, Jeb Burton.
I just love these speed shots. Really emphasizes what this place is all about. Kyle Petty told us before we went green, it's like Bristol on steroids. We go to Bristol next week. We're getting version number 1 of it here today. Let's go full throttle with Sound Gear. Wherever sound is a problem, Sound Gear has the solution. Scan the QR code to learn more at soundgear.com. Turn it up. CW Sports live in Rockingham, North Carolina, O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, racing on Easter weekend. With Parker Kligerman, I'm Adam Alexander, Kim Kuhn, Dylan Welsh in the pit lane, Carla Metz hanging out in the CW garage, 63 laps to go. Saw a flash there of Austin Green in the 87. He's inside the top 20 and having a good day.
So is that Sunoco car there of LeVar Scott, fighting to be inside the top 20, getting really close. Austin Green there, wow, that's tight.
Well, just in front of them, you got Cory Day, right, who's been all over the place here really in this final stage. We talked about them coming down to put that lug nut on, and he's been able to make up some ground, working his way back toward the top 15.
Austin Green got a little bit looser there when Jesse Love got to his left rear. LeVar Scott says, thank you very much. Gets him away from him. They were running side by side.
Allgaier had lost 4th to Creed, 7 starting to come back. And I'm anxious to watch. If this thing runs out, what does Allgaier have for those Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas at the front? Because I feel like late in the run is where he's been good.
Wow.
Onboard Carson Quapple trying to get Allgaier and Creed. That was aggressive.
That was a huge run through the center 1 and 2 wrap in the bottom. Allgaier was trying to get to the inside of Creed. They got checked up. It allowed Quapple to just have a massive amount of momentum there, but it got real tight as they got to the exit of 2. Quapple got really loose off of 2.
You just got to bring it in this place.
You got to take advantage of those moments. That's why he went for it, because he could be sitting behind these 3 now for 10 or 20 more laps and not have another opportunity like that. When it presented itself, he went for it, rightfully so. If he could have netted both those positions, he'd have clean air to even go and chase down Brent Cruz and Sawalich.
You know, the average running position, not great for Sheldon Creed, but he too has found his most success late in the race. Got 3rd now as he and Brandon Jones race for a spot there. And here's a replay. Kick it sideways and hang on.
We've seen that so many times today.
Yes.
And that's the O'Reilly Series. These cars at Rockingham, we saw it last year at this place. The way it's designed, yes, it's been repaved, but the things that made it special and unique have stayed the same in the way these corners are. They're just unique to NASCAR, unique for an oval, and they provide awesome moments like that with big slides.
Let's get a report. Brandon Jones, 4th right now late in the race, Kim.
Yeah, you saw him kind of tuck in behind Sheldon Creed in the 0-0. He had to let Sheldon by to get debris off the front of the grill of the 20. The 19, apparently his teammate did not want to help, so they were relegated to the 0-0 helping. They did tell Brandon, just don't let the 7 follow the 0-0 in front of you.
Well, I'm not surprised. I think Brent Cruz is a bit ahead of Brandon Jones. Didn't want to slow down, help his teammate. Absolutely not. He's trying to chase down the leader there of his teammate, William Sawalich, trying to get his first win. But for Brandon Jones, I wondered what had happened there because I saw it off in the distance out of 2. He slowed up a ton, went to the high side, and then slotted in behind Sheldon. It seemed like a simple pass for Sheldon, and now we know why he needed the help.
As Paul Harvey would say, now you know the rest of the story.
Oh, interesting. I don't know the reference, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, I'm older than you.
It's like,
actually a lot older than you.
Well, I wasn't going to bring it up.
Good battle here. 8th on the line, Austin Hill, Parker Retzlaff. Retzlaff trying to do something that he did earlier this year for the first time ever for Viking Motorsports. Qualify in the top 10, get stage points in both stages, and finish in the top 10. Did that at Darlington. Qualified 3rd for this race, stage points in both stages, and despite the wiggle, it's 9th right now.
He won't quit. He just keeps trying and finding a way forward for Parker Retzlaff. It's been awesome to watch throughout this day. He's had those big moments. He lets the right rear cool back down, takes another run at it, and just seems to continually find a way to move forward, even with that car being pretty sideways all day long.
A lot of drivers right around that chase cut line having good days. William Sawalich is leading, came in 14th in the standings. And we talk about Parker Retzlaff, he was doing a nice job. And so is the 39 of Ryan Sieg. They have had a lot of bad luck early in this year, had a huge comeback at Daytona, top 10 last week at Martinsville, and despite some things not being perfect for them here today, he finds himself in a really good spot, 11th, and racing Raja Caruth.
Right, and I think what I've seen out of Ryan Sieg is they've even, tried a couple strategy things, which is not uncharacteristic for this race team. They take a lot of, I guess, liberties in the strategy department would be the term, in terms of basically, going for low percentage strategies at times, but I think they're in the same position they were a year ago when we talked about he just wants to win a race. Desperately wants to win a race. He's been so close before, just a couple years ago. We thought with them, moving this race team to North Carolina, now with the HFT Alliance, that this could be the time period that they finally get to Victory Lane, but it just hasn't materialized, and they're not afraid to go for it, though. They often try some of these wilder strategies. We saw it here last year when they were the ones that tried to go, 100 laps?
Led 77 laps. Yeah. Most laps anybody led in the race. It was a career best for him. But as you said, on the short side of the fuel meter and unable to get the payoff, he settles in one more time in 11th behind the 88 of Raja Caruth. You know, let's go back in the field, and riding 31st right now, 3 laps down, Cletus McFarland. So much hype coming into the day, and they've really checked a lot of boxes this weekend, Dylan.
Yeah, and the good thing is that he's still out there, right? 50 to go, and he's done what he wanted to do. He's run all the laps so far, albeit 3 laps down, but has been a pretty quiet and clean day after that scary moment the first couple laps. Let's get some Starkey radio communication, though, and hear a big moment that he had just a few laps ago.
Enough to know that if you're saying the word inside, I should not go inside rather than what I did. I will never do that again. If I hear the word inside, I'm not anywhere near it. Yes, please, thank you for that. I'll give you a heart here.
Well, it's a learning process, right? There's a lot of aero things that are happening with these race cars that he's experiencing for the first time. They lack downforce, they lose a ton of grip, and it add in, you know, one of the things he's experienced, which he and Kyle Petty talked about in the pre-race, was getting lapped. And sometimes that can be one of the more terrifying moments there as Sieg and Carruth get very close together, but that's all part of the experience. And, you know, in terms of the speed, it's half what I expected. It's, you know, he's been fairly off the pace in that 33, but kept it clean. That's all you can hope for.
Watching these two battle, it's been very entertaining. Last 10, 12 laps or so, Sieg and Carruth. By the way, Raja goes back to the 32 next Saturday night. Bristol, Tennessee, driving for Jordan Anderson Racing, and it will be Kyle Larson who gets behind the wheel of the 88. Larson, a winner earlier this year at Las Vegas when he was driving for Junior Motorsports.
Larson again at Bristol.
Yeah, I know.
We experienced that last year.
Well, you know, last year he was driving the 17 for HMS, and he was just outrageous. So we'll see what he can do in that 88 car, but it really doesn't seem to matter what vehicle he's driving or who he's driving for as the caution comes out. And
well,
do I give you and Dylan this one since I took credit for Jeremy Clements?
Possibly.
Cletus McFarland around, 7th yellow of the day, and the Whelen caution lights are on.
I think this might have been a scary moment for our leader, William Sawalich. I believe this might have happened right in front of him. We spoke too soon. He had kept it clean all day long.
Yeah, but it's not, you know, like he got into the wall, tore it up, and got to drive to the garage.
Still running.
Yeah, he's had a few moments today, but his attitude and approach, just undeniable. The way he has come in here, respected the competition, and this whole opportunity. I love the interview that he had earlier today with Kyle Petty and NASCAR Countdown Live, just so honest. Kyle pushed him a little bit, said I wasn't totally for you getting this opportunity when it all came about, but I love the back and forth between those two, and Cletus, a fun personality, no doubt.
And there's no doubt you can deny his enthusiasm here. We're looking back. There's Sawalich in the orange, who's the leader. So this is after Cletus had already started his slide.
Boy, Cruz just barely snuck through there as well.
Yeah, yep, so this is it's about similar to what he did in the testing video down into 3. That is the toughest corner entry-wise here at Rockingham. The car gets incredibly light. The way it loads the banking, the front end loads first, which causes the rear to want to swap ends with the front. So it's incredibly tough, and definitely it's you know, one of those things where when you get later on tires, later in this race, the grip level's changing constantly. You have to consistently adjust for that.
Free pass here goes to Jeremy Clements, scored 26th. So we'll have 26 cars on the lead lap. Everybody out of tires. Now it's just time to ride it to the finish. And a big restart when we return. William Sawalich out front, the 19-year-old, trying to become a part of history and win here at the Rock. Big finish coming on CW. Just over a lap away from getting the green flag once again here at Rockingham. Let's go to the CW garage and check in with Carla Metz.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. Brent Cruz currently running P2 in this race right now, and it's been a big week for the 18-year-old who finally got to take the reins for the 19 for Joe Gibbs Racing just last week. Cruz told me he's been eager for this full-time ride to finally start rolling, but made mention of how important it was to watch the Cup guys drive his cars in those handful of races, saying, I got to learn from them. I got feedback after every race. He said it was the next best thing to being back behind the wheel, and it's time now to put it all into practice. Now that he's 18 years old, the next number they're focused on is 30, trying to average 30 points per race, and so far he's got 10 in this one, Adam.
Yeah, he's just done an outstanding job. And what's impressive to me is we've gone to some tough places, and he just steps up. Think about drivers that picked up their first victory. How about Ward Burton, 1992? Yeah. He got his first O'Reilly Auto Parts win and his first Cup win right here at the Rock. Won on the Cup side in 95. And Matt Kenseth won in 98. Best ever finish for Joe Gibbs Racing was a runner-up when Kenseth beat Tony Stewart to push him to second place back in 98.
What gets me is how mature Brent is in that scenario where he's had those Cup drivers and guys driving his car with all that experience, and not to have that feeling of having to jump in here and match them, right? That's hard for a young driver full of confidence and thinking they've got all the ability in the world to not try to overdo it. He absolutely has not done that and has just had great runs every single time he's been in the series so far this year, and we know that's only going to build.
We added a lap here. You know, you look at the guys that are up there for the restart, and we talk about Cruz going for his first win. Sawalich is doing that. Quapple's up there trying to get a victory for the first time. A couple of other drivers in the top 10 in that same scenario. Let's go down to the Arby's pit box and Kyle.
Yeah, let me tell you something. It's chaos time at Rockingham. I'm going to say, when you get down and there's just this few laps left, we've seen some aggressive driving. We've seen some slide jobs. We've seen a lot of stuff happen. But this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where, if you want that trophy, if you want to add your name to it, some things are going to happen. So I'm telling you something. I'm going to grab hold of one of these Arby's boxes, and I'm going to sit over here with my drink, and I'm going to enjoy these last few laps.
Kyle, you had so many boxes there before. We know what you've been doing this whole time.
That's exactly right, man. It's nice up here on the Arby's box, I'm telling you, dude.
Yeah, it is. He's felt right at home all day long, hasn't he?
Got food, refreshments.
Hey, it's been great having him on the show today.
Awesome. Love Kyle. Love hanging out with him.
Kyle, Wally Dallenbach, and myself worked years ago doing the Cup broadcast at TNT, and I will tell you,
I'm nostalgic for that.
The unpredictability in that booth was always over the top. Here we go, restart, 38 to go. Two teenagers on the front row.
No, we had a huge checkup.
Cruz, there it is.
So there was a lot of checking up there. Sawalich gets away, but it was Retzloff who dove to the inside at one point, and then there was even more checkup farther back. I think maybe LeVar Scott got out of shape. They all seem to get away with it. Most likely NASCAR won't call penalties there if there was massive checkups for drivers getting out of line, because they're just trying to avoid running into the driver in front of them.
You know, we got in the final stages of the race last week at Martinsville and had that huge crash on a restart. Fortunately, here today, we're able to get away with it. We had a big crash late here on a restart last year. Harrison Burton, 24, Sammy Smith in the 8, and here comes the 17 of Cory Day trying to rally late.
Jordan Anderson's
Austin Green, 87, hang on to it. Unbelievable.
He got to the inside there of Andrew Patterson and was forced down the apron. Now they're 3 wide once again. How he held on to that. Wow.
Okay, prepare
back in its dust again.
For another caution, another restart. Green bounces off the wall.
Still going here. Now he's got damage to the outside. He might have cut down a tire there that last hit.
Might have a hard time getting down here, letting all the traffic swing by as he tries to make the hard left-hand turn and get down the pit lane.
Does it.
And he's able to get there. No caution. Restart is good.
And I misspoke there. I called them Jordan Anderson Racing teammates. 87 no longer affiliated with Jordan Anderson Racing. So here's the move. Yeah, so I believe Andrew Patterson maybe didn't know he was there. He turned in as if he was clear. Totally compromised the 87. And look at this drift slide up the track using 8 tires better than 4. Gets it going again. But unfortunately, then down in 1 and 2, it got away again.
A really good job by Nathan Bird in the 42, driving for Youngs to get by, avoid an accident, and he's looking at a spot in the top 15 here. Brennan Poole back in the top 15 again.
I can't believe he got that car back. It's bottom of our screen there. Quampel once again trying to get the inside of Allgaier.
I mean, we got stuff going on all around this racetrack. William Sawalich leads by 1.8 seconds over Brandon Jones. Sheldon Creed is third, and from fourth on back, it is remarkable. That's where Cruz is right now, Kim.
Yeah, and he radioed, it felt a little bit weird. He thinks he might have a tire going down. Hasn't said anything since, so it's something we'll keep an eye on.
Oh, yeah. He just got in the wall there. So something might definitely be wrong with the 19.
With 32 to go, that's a long way to ride it out. Allgaier goes by. His teammate could be the next one. 54 is Taylor Gray. Cruz has been so good today, led 30 laps, got a great average running position. You hope he can hang on to it. Talk so much about no margin for error for this team. Carla referenced they've gotten good stage points today, but a bad finish when you're in position is so hard for this team who's missed races and trying to get into the chase, but he's fading fast. Quampel gets by, Carruth is there, and so is Parker Retzloff.
He's
and you
really
can just,
struggling. He got no rear grip in there. That could be a slow leak in a tire, essentially going down. He's gonna have to assess this quickly and eventually make a decision. Do you hit pit road? This is all part of the learning experience. Doesn't have a ton of experience in these cars to know, is it a tire going down? Is it some other issue? But he's obviously off the pace and just hanging on.
Riding on board Austin Hill. He's able to get 9th away from him. The parade continues with Sieg and Sammy Smith.
And he's hitting, I think he's hitting pit road here.
Unscheduled stop, 28 laps to go. Here comes Brent Cruz.
Smart decision.
Go back, they took those 2 tires when he was in control of this race. And they made that pit stop at lap 67. Comes back now with a tire issue. And as he deals with disappointment, right of your screen, left of your screen, William Sawalich back across the start-finish line, 27 laps away from his first career victory. And veterans racing for third, Sheldon Creed, Justin Allgaier.
They were taking a look there at the right front, taking their time. 4 tires for Brent Cruz. It was the right decision to just get off the racetrack when he knew the issue was too big to stay out there. Very mature move for the 18-year-old.
Maybe 25 laps to go when we come around the next time. And I'm thinking, actually, as we hit the start-finish line here, we hit 25 laps to go. And I'm thinking about William Sawalich. And you got this big advantage. 25 laps here in a test session or in practice is nothing. But in this scenario, what is he managing behind the wheel?
Well, first of all that chaos happened behind him. He's like, hey, everyone, keep it together. Really, please, keep it together right now. And you have basically a 2-second gap. You're staring your first win in the face. Car's obviously doing everything that he's asking from it. Clean air. You just want to run laps. Focus on running those laps, hitting your marks, being disciplined, being methodical about it, keeping in check what you need from that race car. If possibly there is that caution, you've got to do a restart. You want to keep that in the back of your mind as Creed was way up the racetrack right there. Kept it off the wall.
Allgaier now third, but he's 3 seconds almost behind race leader William Sawalich.
I think Creed was just starting to really test the limits of how high you can run in the corner there and got his right rear up into the dust.
The lap car there, the 74 Dawson Cram, sees a few drivers inside the top 10 dance around. Gray, Retzloff, Austin Hill. Go back and look at this for Sheldon Creed getting high.
And what happens in these races, especially in repave, is you get braver and braver like this because there's forbidden fruit up there. The higher you go, it feels like there's more grip until suddenly there's none when you're in the dust and you have to park the car in the corner like that. Feels like it has no grip suddenly. It's almost like hitting ice, essentially, when the tires get covered and all that debris that's up there. But there is speed at times at these tracks like this. When you're in a repave, you get to some fresher asphalt. It pushes up and up throughout the race. You get braver with it, and then eventually, as they say in the dirt world, jump the cushion, essentially.
We've seen many times today how fine that line is.
Yes.
William Sawalich comes across the start-finish line 20 laps away from victory number 1, Dylan.
Yeah, and you guys were talking about what he's managing inside the car. They're literally just managing the gap. Jeff Mindering has come on the radio a couple times here over the course of these last 50 laps or so and just reminded him they've got one of the fastest cars every single lap. Don't burn your stuff up here. Just save a little bit for us if we have to do a green-white checkered or something at the end. So just cruising right now. It's been interesting to watch him all day. And right here, they focus specifically on wrapping the bottom lane and finishing the corner. So being strong off the exit in practice yesterday, and they felt like that was going to pay dividends for them today. That is where he's made the most hay, right around the white line today, and not showing any signs of leaving it here over the final 20 laps, Kim.
Yeah, and his teammate Brandon Jones running in that second position. And when I talked to crew chief Stan McCauley, he was very optimistic coming into this weekend. He said, look, last year we qualified 6th, ran top 5 most of the race, even led 6 laps, but just ended up in that late race pile-up, finishing 12th. There were 2 additional things that he noted that were going to help his driver this weekend excel. One was the fact that he's got his regular spotter on the spotter stand, Chris Lampert. Last year, Chris took the weekend off since it was an off-cup weekend, and Sam said immediately after Rockingham's race last year, they called him and said, yeah, we're not doing that next year. We want you on top of the spotter stand. He's a huge help. He notices trends. He's obviously a veteran spotter. And the other thing is they've got SMT data this weekend. They did not have that last year, and Brandon is a big studier, so he would study that after practice and qualifying yesterday. In fact, Brandon told me this morning, look, I had 3 or 4 blank sections in my notes from not having SMT last year, so having that data makes a huge difference. We're seeing that right now. Again, Brandon Jones running P2.
And chasing down the leader right now. He's cut into that lead a couple tenths in the last few laps. They were pretty even on the last lap. Some of it's when Sawalich runs into traffic, but he has been quicker.
You know, Allgaier was chopping into it as well, and his progress has leveled out a little bit.
Oh my goodness. RCR cars run into each other.
Yeah, Austin Hill getting into the backside, Cletus McFarland. Cletus is going to hear that squealing noise in his sleep tonight. You know, he's been sideways a lot. 14 to go for Sawalich. You know, I want to go back to what Dylan talked about and crew chief Jeff Mindering and how good he has been for so many young drivers in the series. Had success with Brandon Jones when he was at Joe Gibbs Racing the first time. Helped get Sammy Smith his first career victory at Phoenix when he was running for Rookie of the Year. A couple of years ago it was with Chandler Smith, and they put some really good runs together. Last year, William Sawalich didn't get the payoff as a rookie, but did finish second twice, back-to-back, in fact. William Sawalich at St. Louis and Portland. Missed those 2 races late last year, had those concussion-like symptoms when he crashed at Talladega. Come back this year and just has had a lot of bad luck, but today doing all the things that he needs to do. He's led 68 laps and in charge with 12 to go.
Just had a big vault away from Brandon Jones by a couple tenths in that last lap. Brandon struggled to get through traffic. I thought for a moment there that Sawalich was maybe just taking care of it, letting Brandon close the gap just a little bit, but then vaulted away. You know, yesterday's truck race was dominated by Cory Heim, but Caden Honeycutt came on late when it seemed unlikely. Could we be looking at a similar situation here? The big thing that happened there for Cory Heim, 1, he possibly had an issue, but 2 was traffic. And there's gonna be a lot more traffic ahead of Sawalich.
You know, Carson Quapple's been all around it today, but here he is, top 5. They were fighting some issues in the middle portion of this race that brought some question marks about where they would land. But when he's been in the 1, He has been magic. Goes back to the 9 next Saturday night at Bristol. By the way, we're on the air CW 7 o'clock Eastern time with NASCAR Countdown Live from Thunder Valley. But it hasn't mattered. This game of musical chairs has not phased driver one, top 5 in points.
He's got the consistency down right now, for sure, for Carson Kvapil. But I'm going to keep sounding like a broken record. It's going to come down to getting that first victory, getting that monkey off his back, getting the confidence that comes with that, getting out of the, hearing constantly, when are you going to win? When's it going to happen? Putting that aside will be massive for Carson Kvapil.
Hey, and I referenced next Saturday night at Bristol. That's the Dash for Cash opener. Today, Dash for Cash qualifier. Look at this. They split Creed to the teammates from Junior Motorsports, Raja Caruth, 2 for 1, and that is huge because we're talking about Dash for Cash eligibility. Top 4 leaving here, running for the $100,000 next Saturday night, and Caruth says, thank you very much with 8 to go.
And I don't know if they even know that's the situation or thought about it, but it was an awesome move by Raja there. With all that momentum, they get checked up behind the 55 and shot to the inside to take those positions. Awesome stuff.
If they're thinking about that right now, they need to change their priorities.
Trust me. No, that's one of those things when you get out of the car and they tell you, oh, great, that's awesome.
Hey, and it has been a good day for Junior Motorsports. 3 inside the top 5. Man, up for move of the day.
Look how tight that was for
Kvapil. Nearly gets clipped by Creed as he slides down. Well, this will be something.
This is going to be, watch that. Kvapil squeezed that car as close as you could between the 55 and Sheldon Creed.
Raj has really done a nice job as Sawalich continues to work lap traffic. 5 laps to go. The advantage down right around a second now.
Yeah, it condensed a lot just in the last 2 laps. But for William, he doesn't have a lot of traffic ahead of him right now. There's a lot of clean air.
How about this? William Sawalich trying to win on Easter weekend. Among the many things he did in the offseason was visit the Pope.
That's right.
I mean, he was literally all around the world in the offseason. And he just plays it off like it's no big deal. And his mom anxiously watching on.
Bet the Pope was at the White House recently. Very well traveled.
Reference Sammy Smith won with Jeff Mendering. That's the last time the 18 car won at Joe Gibbs Racing. Springtime 2023 at Phoenix. 3 laps to go for Sawalich.
And he's got about a quarter straightaway to the next set of traffic, so this might time out perfectly for him. That's what all he wants to see is clean air. You can see that Brandon Jones has started to come into the frame, but it might just be too little too late here to be able to get to his teammate.
Now you just want to make sure you get back to the white flag.
That's all you're looking for.
And then
right
if the caution comes out, you don't have to worry about a restart. He won 2 ARCA East championships. Made his way full-time to the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series last year. Mentioned the fact there were some bumps in the road, but he's always been able to have those flashes of talent. Trying to close the deal on win number 1. White flag is in the air, 1 lap to go. Sponsored by Credit One Bank for what's ahead.
This has been an impressive drive, and I think to that restart where he got the better of his teammate, Brent Cruz, around the outside, it was an awesome move. It's put him in this position.
Incredible drive for William Sawalich, the 19-year-old from Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Off of turn 4, sees the checkered flag. His first career victory comes at Rockingham.
That's
1-2 finish for Joe Gibbs Racing.
Man, we're winners. Let's go.
8 races into the year, 2 first-time winners. Sheldon Creed gets it done at Atlanta. Today belongs to William Sawalich.
I wondered how excited he'd be. He's not usually the most excitable person.
Youngest driver to win at Rockingham in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Joins David Pearson, Ernie Irvin, Ward Burton, and Matt Kenseth is drivers to get their first career victory at this place. And it's the first win for Joe Gibbs Racing here. Talked about the fact that Matt Kenseth got his first career win here, took it away from Tony Stewart and Joe Gibbs Racing. Today, win number 1 for William Sawalich, and gets the coach his first trophy at this level at this historic racetrack.
And it really turns it around for Joe Gibbs Racing, who have struggled to get results this year. They've had the speed, but haven't quite had the results. This was a big turnaround.
Coming into today, a series regular for them had one top 5. Brandon Jones was second at Darlington. Today they go 1-2, and Sawalich delivers Toyota their first win of the year.
Crew is here. They've made it over the wall. Yes, dude. That was awesome. And this has been a long time coming. A lot of speed throughout the first year and a quarter or so of this guy's O'Reilly Auto Parts Series career, and knew that it would come together eventually, and they were confident it could be today, and they delivered on that promise. Here's Mom in for a hug.
Dude, hell of a job, man. Good job.
William, let's chat. Congratulations. There have been some tough times in the first year or so of your career. How rewarding is this moment after all those trials and tribulations?
I mean, it means everything. It was obviously a tough year last year and a tough start to the year this year. I mean, these boys mean everything to me. They were here with me through everything, and my family. Gosh, it feels good to get it done here in Rockingham in front of an awesome crowd. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. Our Sound Gear GR Super was on rails today, obviously. Good in stage 1, stage 2, and obviously amazing in clean air.
The lap traffic, the last closing laps, what were you trying to just remind yourself of to just be as efficient as you could getting through that to hold off the 20?
Well, funny enough, lap traffic took me out last year, so kind of running through my head a little bit. But man, I mean, I just, studied the race last year and, just calmed down and everything's fine.
Congratulations. William Sawalich, a winner at last in the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series.
How many times do you see it? It takes a while to get that first win. Here it's 42 starts, but once you get one, confidence is there and the floodgates open. If you can win here, you can do it anywhere.
Definitely, in the fashion that he did it there, really nailing the restarts, staying competitive throughout the whole race and up front the whole time. You saw Brent Cruz come in there, dap him up a little bit, say congratulations. So it's such a cool moment to get your first win. It's so big. You work so hard for this, and through all the he went through last year to get it here at the Rock, awesome.
Junior Motorsports going for their 6th consecutive win today. If they had gotten it, they would have matched Joe Gibbs Racing. William Sawalich says no thank you. It's going to be a JGR Toyota going to victory lane. The old veteran on the pit box leading the charge. Jeff Mendering gets to celebrate again, and this time he does it with another young driver. 19-year-old William Sawalich wins at the Rock.